Thank you, Brian, and thanks to all of you for being here this week. It's amazing actually being up here and looking out there and seeing how many people are here. It's pretty exciting. So as Brian mentioned, we have some special presentations today, and they've been prepared by both our clients and staff. But before we jump into those, I want to take a little bit of time and just expand on what Brian shared. I'd like to talk more about the effectiveness of GIS intelligence and what it looks like as it's scaled through your organizations. The videos that Brian shared from Raleigh, Escondido, and Augusta are all achievable examples of the effectiveness of what that vision is once GIS intelligence is embraced within your organizations. Similarly today, each of you are already driving digital transformations in your organizations. All of you want to make your organizations more agile and adaptable, help to manage risk and compliance, to increase growth and scalability, and to manage at the same time the needs of your constituents while trying to enable innovation. So the ubiquitous term smart city is often used to describe how local governments are using technology. But at times, this effort is incomplete. So smart city strategies sometimes are lacking in a wider vision that extends beyond their actual cities. But at the same time, governments, business, and residents all start to benefit from the broader value of what Gartner has described as an intelligent urban ecosystem. And this is really just taking it to the next level, taking it up and expanding it. Because initially, smart cities, the strategies focused on developing technology that would start to provide some operational efficiencies within the organization. But moving to an intelligent urban ecosystem is about applying a life cycle governance approach, starting to evaluate all those dynamic internal and external factors that are shaping the service strategy and providing those needs back to your constituents. So one example would just be if you think about 311 and citizen engagement systems. So many times that technology is being used, and it's great because it really provides that first level of warning in terms of the symptoms that are starting to pop up out in your infrastructure. But the real power of citizen engagement tools in 311 come into play when you're starting to take all that data that's being generated and using it for analysis. Starting to identify where there's clusters of issues and how that's actually symptomatic of a larger infrastructure issue. Are looking at societal issues and understanding how the calls that are coming in, the work that's being done, and the resources being applied actually relate back to the parity in terms of the service areas. So when I listen to Brian discussing the importance of operational effectiveness on an organization and how that creates elegance in the services that you're providing to the residents in your community, it reminds me of a business maturity curve. And these are representing the journey of an intelligent business ecosystem. And I want to ask, as you're here this week, just think about what effective steps can you take today to help you develop as an intelligent urban ecosystem. So I'm going to have a little bit of interaction here. By a show of hands, for our clients here, how many of you would say that your Cityworks and GIS implementations today are 100% complete? They're final. Okay, so I can't see everybody, but nobody raised their hands, which is what I expected. So from talking to everybody over the years, I know that you anticipate that your implementations are never actually going to be complete. These are essentially living, breathing projects that are occurring. And GIS is more than just the location of assets on a map. It's all the information about those assets that give you that broader spatial context. It's the information about the relationships, connections, dependencies that are all taking place. And the number and type of assets that your organizations are responsible for are constantly growing and expanding, and that will only continue to happen in the future. Whereas asset management provides the details related to the life cycle of all of those assets. From the time that the first design takes place, through the installation, construction, operation and maintenance, repairs that are being done, and then eventually to the retirement of those assets. All of those details and transactions that are taking place are making up your asset management strategy. But asset management, when you combine that data with smart technology, you start to create a data-focused service strategy that you can then deliver to support your constituents as well as all of your organization. So when you look at the graphic here, I imagine that you saw on that curve some idea of where your organization is today. There's something there that you can look at and decide where do you want to be and what can you do to take back to create positive results for your community. So as Brian mentioned this morning, the primary goal of that Apollo mission was to create a vehicle and a set of systematic processes that would take 3 astronauts to the moon and then return them back home safely. And so maybe your organization isn't responsible for a moon mission, but you guys are responsible for making sure that after a hurricane, critical services are returned so you have safe conditions for your residents. You're also responsible for making sure that maybe there's consistently failing roadways, and you're identifying priorities that can be used for maintenance to make sure that they're not making just an impact in their quality today, but 10 years from now. Or maybe your organizations are looking at deploying smart sensors so you can proactively start to minimize and reduce those service disruptions and main breaks at a cost savings while also increasing your level of service. No matter where you are in your current journey of asset management, data analytics and location intelligence empower you to create those exchanges to identify insights to share throughout different municipal organizations and stakeholders. Because that's a big part of the concept of the intelligent urban ecosystem. It's about that data sharing it freely and easily among departments and citizens, using it to identify those priorities. You already have the tools available today. You're here, you're Cityworks customers, that means you're also Esri customers. So between the tools provided with those 2 components, you already have the tools available to do the job today. And many of you are already doing that. You're accomplishing so much, and you're embedding technology throughout your organization where you can. And all this work establishes trust with the public. All these shots that have been coming up behind me this whole time, they're just showing how all that data that's being generated from Cityworks is being embedded in Esri technology and Cityworks technology to show transparency of what's actually taking place with the resources that you're charged with as the municipal stewards. So the objective is to continually strive to create a safer, more resilient, and more sustainable community. When I was walking in this morning, I saw all those quotes on the screens from clients. And those themes were present in almost every single one. Because when you do that, people identify your community as a good place to visit, a good place to do business, and a good place to live. And Cityworks, Esri, and our business partners are dedicated to providing GIS-centric solutions to help deliver this technology within your organizations. Our partners in particular are a key component of delivering emerging technology. So you can see on the screens here some examples of our partners who are already working with 3D and ArcGIS indoors to enable collaboration with Cityworks. Because striving for effective solutions, though, it's not just limited to what's taking place with the public. Part of it is making sure that your internal workers have the tools that they need to be effective and resourceful. And out in the field, it isn't just a matter of the hardware and software, but also making sure that they have the data that they need. So they're not just effective, but also safe. And the advantage of having that GIS-centric framework that you already have in place with Cityworks and ArcGIS, it makes sure that there's consistent data that's being shared throughout your organization. But this also extends beyond just your organization. It's about taking it to a broader approach. Because when you extend and immerse in the importance of location intelligence, you make your solutions multi-jurisdictional. And you start to enable that collaboration with your neighboring communities and other external agencies. There's so much that's available today in terms of collaboration through cloud platforms, machine learning, data analysis, IoT tools. Just imagine if you could start using that technology and breaking down those data silos between city, county, and state lines. Imagine what that would mean in terms of the level of customer service that you could start to deploy and enable on a broader scale. You'll see this in reality in the sessions on the main stage and today and tomorrow, as well as in the breakout sessions this week. Your system of record, system of engagement, and system of insights are helping to build that central nervous system that then powers an intelligent urban ecosystem. It's always going to be evolving, and it might be a finish line that you never really reach, kind of similar to your implementations with Cityworks and the GIS, because the challenges that are being put before your organizations are always going to be emerging. There's always going to be new issues that are popping up that we can't predict today. But fortunately, at the same time, the technology and the processes and the people that are there to help you solve those challenges, they're also constantly improving and adapting. So with that, it's time to think beyond smart cities and take it to the next level and empower GIS intelligence to lead the way to help create a stronger community, state, and a nation.